everyone, my name is Jo Stevens and I'm the coordinator of Common Grounds Women in Business Network. Thank you so much for taking the time to check in and learn more about our amazing Common Ground members. Now, Common Grounds provides coffee meetups for women in business to network and connect with like-minded women in business. Now, we have an amazing diverse, whatever you want to call it, diverse group of women. And one of the reasons why I started this blog chat was to help these incredible women spread the word on not only what they do, but why they do what they do. And today I'm joined by the amazing Dani. Hello, Dani. How are you, my love?
Hey Joe, so nice to be here. Thank you.
Can't wait. Now, Dani, do you want to introduce yourself formally and tell us about yourself and what the name of your business is and just a little bit about what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dani from Wild Flow Wellbeing, and I am all about yoga and helping kids and families to slow down. So to be formal about it, I'm a qualified and certified kids and adults yoga teacher and also a laughter yoga leader as well. I'm also a coach as well, and I've been stepping back into that space a little bit. But yeah, my big passion is kids and families and helping them to come back to themselves. Yeah.
Absolutely. So can you talk a bit about why you went into was it to start off being yoga for yourself and that passion kind of led you to where you are? Or was it just something that you wanted to go straight into, teaching people? Where did that all come from, that passion about yoga?
Yeah, I think for most of us in this field, anyone who's in the field of supporting other people, we go through it first, yeah. And they say teach what you want to learn, or teach what you needed to learn, or what you needed to know, and very much that's where it's at. So, for me, I got started a long time ago in the coaching and in yoga and space like that. I actually needed it for my own self. I was struggling with depression, anxiety, and panic attacks, and it was pretty heavy, and I was really struggling with it. And I thought, what can I do? But I first came to yoga because I needed to get some support for a back injury, so it was an exercise thing, which is funny. And most people know yoga to be about exercise, and whilst it can be good for movement, my journey has really taken me down a road to understand that yoga is so much more, and ultimately it's about slowing down and coming back to ourselves. So yeah, my journey, I did yoga, just went to classes and things like that, and I started learning about things. I then studied Ayurveda and went deeper into the philosophy of yoga and the history, and got really, really interested and hooked. But I didn't think I would teach yoga. It's not something I really thought I would do. But when I was still working part-time, I was a single mum working part-time, and the job I was in, it was okay. But at the time I was being really severely bullied. So I was sort of trying to manage that and go through all the HR channels, and I wanted to keep my job. And I was sort of coaching on the side then, but nothing was changing. And I thought, you know what, this is silly. Why am I still here? I'm going to do something else. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any savings, and I thought, oh, well. So I quit my job and I went home and I looked around and thought, okay, well, I need to do something now. I've got to have money to, put food on the table and pay the rent. What can I do? I have this opportunity, right? What can I do to move my life forward and have more of what I do want in my life instead of just stepping back into another job? So I opened up Facebook, and this ad popped up for yoga training in Bali. Now, I'd never traveled before. I did have a passport. I had been on a Vanuatu cruise. And I thought, I don't know. So anyway, I went for a big walk in the forest, as I do, and sat in, did a long meditation, and I came home and it just felt right. So a little bit just kind of jumped into it, which is sometimes what happens. And I rang up and found a dealer to sell my car to, because I had no money. So I sold my car and I got the money the next day, and I booked the training. I booked the flights. I called Mum and said, Mum, I'm going to Bali for a month. And at the time, my daughter she would have been 10 or 11, something like that. And I said, I'll be back in a month, and here you go. Here's the schedule. Can you have her this time and this time? And I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So yeah, within 2 days, I had quit my job, sold my car, booked flights and a training in Bali, and that's where it all sort of really kicked off for me to teach yoga.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Like that is like, really jumping into the deep end, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
taking that massive big
It's
step.
wild.
It is so wild. But I think that
Yeah.
I love that because that is shows how much passion you had for it. Even though
Mm,
like you were taking a massive, like let's be honest, it was a massive risk that you were taking.
mm,
There's no doubt
mm.
about that.
Yeah.
But you had that passion and you knew like, no, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this and I'm going to
Yeah.
just do what I can to make that work. And like, look at you go. Look at you. You've soared.
Yeah.
Like, you've
Yeah, it's really been a crazy journey. And like I said, I didn't initially think I'd do teacher. I thought maybe I'd do teacher training one day, but I thought it would be more of a personal journey. I've done a lot of personal development and a lot of self-inquiry. I really thought it would be about that, and it was. When you go and do a training, particularly an intensive like I did in a whole other country,
yeah.
you really learn a lot about yourself. And it was such an interesting journey because I actually have chronic back issue. I injured my back when I was 22.
Mm,
And I still have to manage that even now. And yoga is really what helps me with that in so many ways, not just the physical, but
yeah.
more about the being mindful and understanding that there's the physical body, the mindset and the emotions, and it all comes together, as one. So, yeah, yoga really has been a huge part of my life. And I thought, well, if it's helped me, go through all the things that I've been through, and then it can really help other people. So yeah, it's interesting. Like having gone and done that, I then came home and did my kids teacher training the week I got home. I booked that in. It was something just down the road, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll do that. I've worked with kids for years, love kids, bit of a big kid at heart. And that's when I really started. Like within 2 weeks of having all my training, a friend of mine said, look, I'm starting I'm starting a kids yoga business now. I want a teacher. I need some other teachers. Do you want to work for me? So yeah, I went and did that. That's what kind of got me started. So yeah, I've got a lot to thank him for, and I still do work for him sometimes for contract work, which I love. So that's how the kids aspect came in, and that was going to be in the background, maybe. I thought it would complement what I'm doing, and it's kind of all flipped on its head. And now that's what I do all the time. And just circling back to what you said, Joe, about, was it my own journey? That's really why I'm passionate about teaching kids and families. Because for me, growing up, I had a lot of I experienced a lot of anxiety. I went through some really up and down patches with depression, and I felt really misunderstood. And there's a quote, I don't know who says this, but it something to the effect of, kids are born with all the emotions, but they lack the tools to manage them.
Absolutely.
And just like us, just like many, many adults, if you've not gone down the yoga path, or you've not learned about the nervous system or done psychology or all these things that teach us about this stuff, we don't learn it.
No.
And even now, it's not really taught in schools. There's little bits and pieces, and I'm really on a big mission to change that. But we don't learn this stuff, and it's actually quite simple. We don't need all of the the
Mm.
background details of all of it. We just need these simple practices. The hard part is doing them, right?
Absolutely, 100%. And I
Yeah.
totally agree with you. And like,
Mm,
I went down that whole journey myself. I actually am a
mm,
Qigong instructor. I
mm.
have done that training, and that was more for me, for my journey, for my mental well-being, because I suffered with
Yeah.
depression as well. And
Mm,
using that technique really has helped me. And I think that's a lot of the trainers that come through. It starts off with like something like that you need to support yourself, and then you realize I can support others with this as well, and that passion. Well, one of the things
yeah.
that I've noticed, like, I do know you from coming to Common Grounds, but also following you on social media, is when you're saying about your kids programs, like with that you do for
Mm,
yoga, but it's not just the kids themselves. A lot of the times I see it's the parents and the children. Do you find that that is a great like impact like for the whole family when you're doing that? And like some of the young, some of the like I can see they're a little bit older,
yeah.
but do you find that that's a great impact on the whole family?
Yeah, I love using that word. I have a post-it note here and it says impact. Yeah, that's exactly it. So coming back to my journey as a child, and what some people watching this may or may not know, children under the age of 7 are not able to regulate their emotions on their nervous system on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have the skill set yet. So they actually need us as adults. So they're responsible adults, they're caregivers, they're educators, they're parents, whoever that is. They need them with them to be regulated first,
Yeah.
to then to be able to help co-regulate and support them. So think about, if you're in a bit of a situation and you've got a 3-year-old having a wobbly on the floor, they're not in their thinking mind. You can't logic it. You can't have a conversation with them. They're just all emotion. Yeah. So if we go in and we're all emotion and we're like amped up and our nervous system is out of the roof, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because they feel that it's all energy. Yeah. So they feel that energy with us. So if we go in and we are regulated and calm and grounded, and our voice hopefully is a little bit lower and a little bit slower, and these are some great tips you can take on if you have got little kids, is just slow it down, lower your tone, and meet them where they're at, particularly down on their level. That's what they need. And it's a form of role modeling, right? It's
Absolutely.
physical role modeling, but energetic role modeling. And then the kids will then be able to calm down. They're still going to go through their wobbly. Yeah, it's still energy and motion. It's still going to happen. It's just a release of cortisol coming out of their body. The more you let it, the quicker it will be over. The more you fight it, the longer you'll be in that situation
Absolutely.
for. Yeah. So, what you're saying is exactly right. So yes, we need to teach kids. And I do a lot of workshops and incursions in schools and childcare centres and with groups, and I run family yoga programs. But one of the reasons why I do family yoga in particular, and why that's sort of my big passion and target, is exactly that. Yeah. If we just teach the kids, that's fantastic. They need to know about it. I wish I knew about yoga when I was that age. I wish that I had these skills and this awareness and body awareness and breath awareness and things I could do to help myself. Even I still would have needed the parents to reinforce it or support me with that, but I needed that and I didn't have it. But the kids need that too. So if we can get them together with their parents, they can practice it, they can understand it and feel it in their body and feel that it feels good and it feels safe. And then the parents actually get to do it at the same time. So they're co-regulating, they're practicing together, they're role modeling. And then when they go home, they can take these little tips and tricks that I give them and use it in their everyday lives. It's not a tick box for me. I really dislike tick boxes. So it's something that's really tangible and practical and simple that we can use in our lives. And family yoga is a really good way to do that.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you that, and because, it's the kids model off what we do as adults. And if you're, taking care of yourself, especially your mental well-being, and then they will see that and understand that that is important. And it's the struggles that I see now. And I think I agree with you. It's starting with the younger ones, and hopefully then that continues in their teenage years, because those years are hard. They are hard as a parent, they're hard as a child. And so if you can bring that calmness in early, and creating that ongoing effect, you might get them in teenage years where they kind of like don't want to talk to you about what you're doing, and you're like, yeah, there's mum like doing some crazy stuff over there, and like I used to do. I love shaking yoga. Get out and shake it off, and they go, she's going a little bit insane out there. But it actually, then they see that. I know with my children now that they're adults, that calmingness is there. It is continued on. They do take that time for themselves. They do understand that it's important to take that time out for their mental well-being, and that comes from the parents, and starting that and instilling that and showing it is so important. Do you agree with that as well?
Yeah. Oh, 100%, Joe. So I've got an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old stepdaughter. The 13-year-old the 13-year-old and I should say, we're all good. Like I'm not super uncool yet. But you know, I'm sure that's changing. But for my daughter, she's sort of half at home and half at grandparents and friends these days, you know. But yes, I can so relate. And I think we're similar like that. We are both a bit quirky and a bit weird in our own ways, and we just embrace it. And I think it's amazing. It's one of the things I love about you, Jo. But I can just see your kids now, like being like, Mum is a weirdo. What is she doing? And I have my daughter say, I dress in a leaf outfit, right? When I teach kids, I have a leaf dress, and it's pretty weird and out there. And often I'll go to Woolies on the way home or whatever, and my daughter will say, Mum, you can't wear that, like you're so embarrassing. But even though we've had that journey, and she goes, oh, you're just the weird yoga, you know, whatever. Yes, she does see it. And you hit the nail on the head there. You said values. And I say this a lot to parents, and, you know, when I'm sharing online, if the kids see us as their parents or their caregivers or their educators or, you know, their greater support network, tribe, whatever word you want to use, if they see us doing that and valuing that, the same as in childcare centres, you know, the educators are expected to be a part of it because they need to value it and the kids need to see that. But you get to chill out and relax, and you get to learn some stuff as well. Like it's a win-win for everyone. But it is my biggest challenge is getting people to see that. So yeah, the values piece in it is so, so powerful.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you touched a little bit on about like, you know, so like about, you know, what you're doing, you're saying you're in childcare centers, but whereabouts as well, like do you do like, I see that's a lot of it's outside. Like what kind of programs and workshops do you offer like your clients?
Yeah, so I sort of glazed over that bit a little bit in the beginning. I teach what I call nature yoga, and there's a few reasons for that. But primarily, we know the calming benefits of nature. We know that there's so much reflection and learning and lesson in looking at nature, and it sort of reflects our stuff back to us, you know. We are nature. We're not separate from it. So it's really beneficial, combining the slow down, the relax, the mindfulness process of yoga and mindfulness and relaxation or, you know, meditation or whatever with nature, and particularly doing it outside, weather permitting. So that's a challenge. But yeah, so I obviously, as I said, work in schools and childcares and with groups and organisations, and that's, you know, like private booking sort of thing. But for families that are wanting to come along to sessions, I'm very